Hi, I'm Olivia, and today's happy nugget comes from the Medal of Honor, the United States' highest military decoration. In over 120 years, almost 3,500 individuals have received this honor for displaying courage and sacrifice above and beyond the call of duty. In war, as in many aspects of society, as there are great performances, there are also mediocre ones. As there are acts of courage, there are also acts of cowardice, which makes those instances of individual valor all the more special, because true, selfless acts of heroism are extraordinary. Throughout the changing nature of war, American courage has stayed true to her spirit. Time and again, American after American shows gallantry in combat, flinging themselves into danger, volunteering when no one else has the courage to, facing death head-on while still doing their duty with faith, perseverance, and devotion. The United States is a country that breeds honor, that encourages excellence, that inspires courage in those who fight for the noblest causes. The true essence of the Medal of Honor goes back to the bloody battles of the American Civil War. In 1861, the United States was not ready for war, much less a war between brothers. Volunteers joined for glory, for adventure, for something to do. And both North and South fought for a way of life they believed in. But instead of glory, the Northern Union Army encountered bad food, disease, and hardship. The Army and Navy were demoralized, drained by wholesale desertions. The need to boost morale called for a medal to recognize merit. Although the criteria for being honored became more defined and rigorous over the decades, the bravery that has always marked the American spirit began to be recognized. At Antietam Creek, the single bloodiest day of the Civil War, Union Private Samuel C. Wright of the 29th Massachusetts was part of a regiment attempting to move toward the sunken road, but there was a fence in the way, and anyone trying to scale it was getting destroyed by the Confederates, torn to shreds by the fence, or killed by sharpshooters. Officers called for volunteers to take down the fence and risk almost certain death. 76 men stepped forward, one of them, Samuel Wright, and he said, "We ran straight for the fence amid a hail of iron and lead, the dead falling all about us, but to reach the fence was our only thought." Richard Curran, assistant surgeon of the 33rd New York, treated the wounded behind the battle line, exposed to constant fire. Officers told him to get back to safety repeatedly, but he said, "Here were the wounded and suffering of my command, and here I believed was my place of duty, even if it cost me my life." Heroism wasn't exclusive to brave acts on the battlefield and saving lives at the risk of one's own. Soldiers and sailors during the Civil War were fiercely protective of their flags and the ideals they stood for, risking their lives to retrieve and protect them. William H. Carney of the 54th Massachusetts Colored Infantry was a 23-year-old former slave who said, "I felt I could best serve my God by serving my country and my oppressed brothers." In 1863, Sergeant Carney and 600 men of the 54th charged along a narrow stretch outside the Confederate stronghold at Fort Wagner, artillery shells flying on either side. Suddenly, the flag bearer was hit by an enemy bullet. Carney threw aside his rifle and seized the flag before it fell, rebel fire piercing his leg, but he made it to a shadow and planted the flag. 30 minutes later, Confederates charged his position. Carney wrapped the flag around the staff and ran to Union lines, stumbling through a ditch waist-deep with water, bullets hitting his chest, right arm, and right leg, a bullet grazing his head. But he crawled forward, and back at the Union camp, he said, "Boys, I only did my duty. The flag never touched the ground." These 3 men were awarded the Medal of Honor for their bravery and patriotism. Acts like these have repeated themselves throughout history. Every instance of valor extraordinary, and although each one different, spanning multiple wars, generations, technology, and enemies, one thing was present in almost all of them: the sheer desire to do the right thing, to risk life and limb, for duty, for honor, and for freedom. War in itself is not something to honor, although many times necessary, but the men and women who risk their lives and answer the call of duty for the causes their countries fight for, those remarkable souls deserve every honor we have to give them. Acts of bravery are not just special because they were accomplished by those with a noble heart. They are also special because at every turn there were leaders and peers who witnessed extraordinary service. It takes humility and courage to recognize and celebrate greatness in another. The Medal of Honor extols the bravery of Americans, but for every medal earned in a bloody battle from Gettysburg to Afghanistan, there were heroes no one ever saw, souls destined to become ghosts in the pantheon of our freedom. For every act of bravery that is honored, we honor the silent sacrifice of every American soldier, airman, sailor, and Marine. Harder than fighting for a just cause is fighting pointlessly and aimlessly while our leaders figure out what to do, making costly mistakes along the way. That kind of sacrifice is all the more heroic because it is often forgotten in the reality of failure and the desire to forget. But whether we believe in it or not, when we forget the cost of war, we dishonor the memory of those who bravely answered the call of duty and gave of themselves selflessly, sacrificing everything for a future we are now privileged to live. In the face of death, danger, and evil, Americans always persevere. At its highest expression, the American spirit values individual life. It fights for honor, respect, and the ideals of freedom. The Medal of Honor embodies the bravery of the American spirit. And that's today's Happy Nugget. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe. As always, I link below the video anything I recommend. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. See you next time.